Hi guys.
Oh, sorry.
Harmony, she's dancing in the background, just ignore her. We are
Get my fairy on.
Yeah, get my fairy on. It's me, Faye and Harmony, and we're in the circle temple again. And we decided this time for this video to dress up. And I have this really pretty like circlet thing. Did you buy it or make it?
I bought it.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And then I have some black fairy wings. And then Harmony has some wings she bought in Glastonbury. And her own handmade cuffs, and she made this as well. And it's all very nice. This feels like a promo for like making our own stuff. But yeah, no, surprisingly this video isn't. Yeah, surprisingly this video isn't about fairies. Like just to mix it up a bit, it's actually not. We're going to be talking about tools and their sort of like use and whether we're yeah, tools. That's really nice. Did you made this one? Didn't you?
I got it from. I got it from. Where did I get it? The Roll Right Stones.
Where's that? Glastonbury? No.
No, it's
really pretty.
On
and you adorned it yourself.
Oxfordshire.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, I just found it because there'd been a lot of thunderstorms and a load of heavy winds. So it was like stuff that had fallen all over the place. So yeah, I picked it up.
Have you ever used it like in a ritual? Or you just sort of have it
not
like
yet. I've only used
up
it
in like this sort of like. But yeah, no, it's really pretty. Do you use tools a lot, or
not so much anymore? I used to.
Do you think tools are like an important part of the craft? Like, do you think they have like a sort of like?
I think they have a purpose. Definitely, I think they fill you with confidence, especially when you first begin, because you can actually see something to visualise your energy into.
Do you think there's too much emphasis on the use of tools in the craft, or?
I think it's just one of those things. You have to do what's right for you, and you need to stop listening to everybody else and just do what's right for you. And if you personally put a lot of emphasis on the use of tools, then they're obviously really important to you. And if you don't, then you obviously don't need them. And I think that's that. I don't think that... I mean, there is like heavy debate on it, and I personally just don't think it's needed. I think it's one of those things where if you want them, use them. If you don't, then don't. And I think they have their purpose just like everything else does. You know, technically we don't need altars. You know, technically we don't need like.
I can live without my altar though. So. I love my altar.
You know, technically we don't need books. We don't need the internet. All of this information is out there for us to gather.
But we want it.
So yeah, I just sort of think.
Yeah, that's true. That is quite a good way to look at it. Actually, I wouldn't really. I suppose you could class an altar as a tool in the fact that obviously it's where you do a lot of your magical work and what you use to sort of like focus like your energy and inspire you and all that sort of thing. So I suppose in that respect, like
taking my wings
my altar would be like my biggest like tool and what I use all the time. I don't really use a wand. I can't find one that resonates with me, and I think maybe that I should make one. That might be what it is, because I've never ever found one that I really like and feel comfortable with. Like everyone that I've I've only ever used a few. I feel really silly. It doesn't feel like natural. So I really think I'm going to make one. I just want to find the right sort of
It's
branch.
quite possibly though that you just don't feel the need for one. Like maybe you feel like you can just literally direct your energy without having to put the emphasis on
that could be
kind of forcing it through something else first, directing it through, you know, like an outer thing as opposed to just you and the universe. But I think that, like I said, it's just, if it works for you, it works for you, and nobody can say, you know, any way whether you should be doing it this way, you should be doing it that way, because nobody understands what power those tools give you, nobody understands what confidence it gives you and how much it's helping you.
Yeah.
So I just sort of think that you just have to go with your gut when it comes to that.
That's true. I think tools are good, sort of like important for like sort of like setting the mood and like setting the moment. I suppose things like candles, things like candles and like incense and having like
they can set an atmosphere.
Yeah, having like elemental representations or like god and goddess representations. I think it is nice to sort of. I think for me it sort of gives me like that sort of like focus, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I will always set up my candles and incense and things like that when I'm doing tarot readings, and I don't need to. I'm not getting anything from the incense or the candles that I couldn't do without them. But for me, because I associate now doing my tarot readings with candles and with incense, if I don't have it there, I kind of feel like I'm missing out on
Yeah,
something.
it's
just something that I've come to associate with that. So it's just purely personal taste.
Yeah, definitely, that's true. Like, and I suppose like Book of Shadows is another like tool, and I'm like, I know some people aren't really too hot on Book of Shadows and feel that it's not sort of like a integral part of the craft. And I suppose in some ways it isn't, but for me personally, like, it is. I feel like I'd feel lost. Like if I didn't have one, I'd feel like
it is what you make it. It's, if you're using a Book of Shadows to record what spells you've done, or I mean, lots of people have a Book of Shadows and a Book of Mirrors, whereas I will use my Book of Shadows as a Book of Mirrors.
Everything.
Yeah. So I think it depends what you're actually using it for. Because if you're just recording like information that you found on the internet or information that you found in a book, then you quite possibly don't feel as connected to it because you've already got that information elsewhere. Whereas if you're using it in terms of a diary to kind of journey your path working so far, then I think that you like probably feel a lot more connected.
It's nice to like look back on as well, I suppose.
And I mean, like, even our YouTube channels and stuff. Like, I mean, for me, the YouTube channels that I've had have been kind of online Book of Shadows.
Yeah, probably.
In terms of where I've been and where I'm
like
going.
Progression and all that sort of stuff. That's true, definitely. And I think it depends as well how personal your Book of Shadows is, I suppose. Like how much, like, if you've sort of like, I don't know, sort of like really like embellished it, or it's sort of like been like it's basically, it's just like, I don't know, like a blank notepad or whatever you use, and like, and now it's like transformed, if that makes sense, because of like the energy and the effort and the like inspiration and things you've put in it and done to it. I guess that can make you feel really like connected as well, I suppose. I guess because you sort of have that, you have your personal creativity and like your energy and your imprint like linked to that, if that makes sense. It's like gone from just being like a book to actually being like a part of you, like an extension of you, I suppose. I want to hand mine down as well. Like, I think that's a really nice idea. I would like to do that. That's if I have children, hopefully. One day. Definitely. What's the one tool then that you think that, well, you personally feel like you couldn't live without, or that you feel is like most important to you personally, like in your like practice or whatever?
Your mind.
Oh, that's a good one. That's true. That is the most important tool, and I think sometimes we do sort of like forget that without your like mind and your intent and intention and stuff, that the rest of it's useless, isn't it? But yeah, no, I don't know what mine would probably be. My altar. I don't know. I just like, I really like my altar, and I just, for me personally, I just feel like it encompasses like everything to me that's important, like to like with the craft and like how my path and my journey and how I've like grown and stuff and all that sort of jazz. So we'd love to know what your thoughts on tools are, and whether you're like us and like don't really put too much emphasis on tools, or whether you really can't practice without having a specific tool. Or
and also I think that we should say, like, in the comments section below, like, be really respectful of what other people say. If somebody like, even if somebody makes a very strong comment and says, I think tools are rubbish and you don't need them, blah, 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 you don't have to kind of jump on that and attack, because they are just sharing their opinion.
That's
and
true.
You have the right to share yours too. Just because somebody else has said something doesn't mean that you are affected by it. You're only affected by it if you choose to be. So, you know, keep it nice, because I know that this can get really like, this topic can be like
That's true. So whatever's right for you is right for you. It doesn't matter what other people say. It's just interesting to see what other people's like point of views and stuff like that are. But we will see you in our next video, and we may dress up as something else. We're not too sure yet. So we shall see you very soon. Bye.